raise your head that the NFPA
Okay, embarrass me in front of everybody, okay?
Well, so you had to get even with the media some kind of way. What was your question?
So what haven't you done so much, and that's why you got this award. In your mind, what haven't you done, and what needs to be done at this point?
Oh, I haven't done nearly as much as I should have done. None of us has. In spite of all the progress we've made, and we've come a long way, we still have a mighty long way to go. The concept of post-racial era is a myth created by media, and it ought to be dispersed. We're not post-racial. I think the incident in Cambridge with Gates and Crowley give a clear evidence that we're still, race is still a significant factor in life in America, and they still don't get it. Crowley doesn't get it. I mean, here's a man who taught workshops about racial profile. He doesn't get it. Why Gates was upset because he put handcuffs and arrested him in his own house. He doesn't get it that every time a black person is confronted by a police officer, he brings all the historicity of relations between. He brings Rodney King and Diablo, and all of that is there. I remember when I used to lecture the young people about how to deal with police, and if the police confronts you, keep your hands in the air and say a little prayer. And that is the nature of the historicity of the experience, and every black person brings that to a confrontation, and white and black police officers ought to understand that. Until they understand that, we're always going to have that tension. And Crowley still doesn't get it. And maybe Gates was a little hot, but I'd be hot too. In my house, you know, back from a long trip, tired, frustrated, couldn't get the door open, and here's a man going to handcuff me. So we've come a long way. And the fact that the fact that they were invited to the White House by an African American president shows we've come a long way. But we still have a long way to go.
Reverend Lowry, April Ryan, White House correspondent for the American Urban Radio Networks. How are you?
Betty Lee worked with you?
Yes.
Will you apologize to her for me? I'm supposed to call her back.
Oh,
Today.
you're good. You are really good.
I didn't get the call.
She's in our Pittsburgh office, but it's a pleasure to sit here and we'll stand here while you're sitting and talk to you. But Reverend Lowry, when you received the award, after you received the award, I couldn't help but notice you take your handkerchief and wipe tears away.
It was hot in the room. I was perspiring.
Really?
You think I was crying? You couldn't pick it mine.
Okay, well, but let me ask you this: as you were perspiring, what were you thinking when you were wiping that perspiration from your eye?
You know, one thought that came to me was, I wish my dad could have been here. He was a small town businessman who, in his own way, was fighting in his own time when it was out of hadn't come into time in the style to fight, and he was very uneasy about me. And the first time I was in jail before he died, he wept, and I just wish he could have witnessed. And I'm going to believe, I'm faithful enough to believe he was looking over the curtain of glory and saw his boy get this award from the President of the United States, and in the first class that the President picked, because you would think he'd want to pick, you know, at the top, make him a good impression for his first group of awardees. And here I am in that award. I think it says something about him that he chose the struggle, respected the struggle. The mayor of Birmingham, Alabama, the other day issued a pardon to all the people who had been arrested in the movement in Birmingham. And he said it was not only for the benefit of the demonstrators, it also represented the city's rebirth and the city's participation in the movement that brought such radical change. And I think that that's what was represented in a way here today, that we've come a long way. Are you Malvo?
I am, yes.
I thought
Pleasure
so.
to see you.
Your cousin, Bennett Collins.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Reverend Larry,
Yes.
Adele Banks from Religion News Service. I was wondering if you could comment on both you and Bishop Tutu receiving 2 of the first awards from the president.
I think the same thing is true. It recognizes the global nature and the global character of the struggle. I was one of the first 5 people who went to jail in Washington at the South African Embassy on the Free South Africa movement. My wife later went to jail in that movement. And once when we were being criticized for advocating sanctions and embargo against South Africa, they said we were hurting the very people that we proposed to help. And it was Tutu who said, if they're hurting because of the embargo and the boycotts, they're hurting for a very good cause. And it gave us relief, from the pressure that we were doing the right thing. So the struggle is global. And Tutu's presence, I think, is another feather in President Obama's cap, that he recognized the global nature of the struggle. And for a president who inherited 2 wars, I think it's not surprising that he would recognize the global nature of the struggle for peace and justice.
What should this president do on race? What should this president do on race, sir? What should this president do on race?
What should he do? I think he's. I said the other day that when he spoke off the cuff about the police incident in Cambridge, that he answered all the questions anybody might have had about what his real instincts are on race. When he said the man acted stupidly, he later, he decalibrated. What was that word? He decalibrated and rephrased his language, but he was right. And his instincts came forth because it was a stupid act to arrest a man in his own house after he discovered he was guilty of no crime. But I think it's significant that he tied it together.
Can we see your medal? Can you lift your medal up so we can see it?
Thank you, folks.
I gotta go now. If I stay any longer, I'll have to take up an offering.
You're going to take up an offering?
Yeah.
You're not going to make much.
Sharing the stage with gay rights activists today, Reverend Lowry. There's a wide variety of people. What about sharing the stage with gay rights activists?
What about it?
You guys.
Yeah, I just wondered. I work for The Advocate.
Well, I didn't find anything unusual about it. No, I support everybody's rights. I've been in jail with gay activists.
And you mentioned in the inauguration, did you?
I did. I mentioned about if that in the arena of human relations, let's come down on the side of love, inclusiveness, tolerance, not exclusion. So it's nothing unusual about it.
Thank you, sir.
Shouldn't be anything unusual. You shouldn't have to ask that question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
Bless you.